you run out and grab the ground beef for your grill, there's a cheaper option. This is Chris Hall from U.S. Foods. He's here to chew the fat, so to speak. Okay, beef prices are going up, right?
And they will continue to stay at where they're at or go up even more just because of the cattle and the cattle industry and the drought in Oklahoma and Texas.
Okay, and buying beef, I think, can be really confusing. I don't know what's good, what's a good price for each. What are the good options?
Some of the good options, you know, this is on the website as a tenderloin, but today I use sirloin for the carpaccio because you're slicing it so thin. You can really make it really nice and it's still going to be really tender. And, you know, some other great options, there's things out there like Terrace Major, which is another very unknown cut, but it's very inexpensive, petite tenders. It
Terrace Major.
And so that comes from the shoulder. And so you can get a lot of cheaper cuts that you can actually cut into medallions and steaks. And so they, you know, you can get the flavors that you want without having to pay the price for tenderloin, strip loin, ribeye.
Absolutely. Do you have to cook them any differently, different times?
Not really. You can just
Wow.
sear them. Some of the other ones that you can braise for long times are short ribs, and you have the chuck roast. So if you like to do crock pot things, the chuck roast is great for that. You can just add your vegetables and some stock in a crock pot and, you know, leave it all day. So when you come home from work 8 hours later, it's ready to go.
Beef carpaccio I always thought was far too fancy for me to make myself. This looks decently simple.
It is very simple. All I did was I trimmed up a piece of the, it's actually the eye of round that comes out of the sirloin. So I trimmed that up, trimmed all the silver skin off, and then just put some salt, pepper, and mustard on the outside and seared it. And then I wrapped it up in plastic and threw it in the freezer.
Because I see the ring of brown around the outside. How long did you cook that for? I mean, searing...
Just about a minute on each side.
Wow, that's pretty easy. How much difference in price are we talking per pound if you get these cheaper cuts?
You're probably talking about half the price.
Wow, really?
And sometimes more. Tenderloin, you know, if you're going to buy that in the store, you're talking about $25, $30 a pound. So for this, you're talking about $6 to $8 a pound.
Tastes just as good.
Tastes just as good.
Is there any way around ground beef or ground beef's ground beef?
Ground beef's ground beef.
Sure.
And you know, but there's ground turkey out there. You know, there's other options besides beef. And so if you can substitute that and make things, you know, that you wanted, turkey meatballs are great. You have to add a little bit more moisture to them, but it works out great.
Okay, so give us a list of those cuts one more time, just so people remember.
Terrace Major, petite tender, chuck tender, which is about the same, and then you have a chuck roast and the beef short ribs.
Awesome. And can you go to your butcher and list these things off, and he knows what you're talking about?
You sure can. And now with some of the smaller butchers popping up around town, you can actually go there and he'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Very cool. All right, Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.